Good morning to all. Here again we are to continue with the poem A Time to Believe by B.J. Morbitzer. A time to believe. To believe is to know that every day is a new beginning, is to trust that miracles happen and dreams do come true. To believe is to see angels dancing among the clouds, to know the wonder of a stardust sky and the wisdom of the man in the moon. To believe is to know the value of a nurturing heart, the innocence of a child's eyes, and the beauty of an aging hand. For it is through their teachings we learn to love. To believe is to find the strength and courage that lies within us when it is time to pick up the pieces and begin again. To believe is to know we are never alone, that life is a gift and this is our time to cherish it. To believe is to know that wonderful surprises are just waiting to happen and all our hopes and dreams are within reach if only we believe. So this poem, we have seen the content, whatever the poet wants to say, wants to emphasize about in the poem is what we saw the explanation. Every poem has certain type of structure, a proper theme through around which the explanation goes on. Here the poet's theme is that he wants us to believe in something. Okay, he wants us certain many of the things which he wants us to accept to be true. So I hope so you have gone through rereading the poem again and again and found the word bank of your own. There are certain words used in the poem, some of which the meanings are given in the glossaries, and apart from them, whichever words you are finding difficult to understand, the similar meaning to them, the synonyms to the words, you should be able to frame the words using sentences of your own. Till then, I hope so you'll be clear with the creating of your own word bank using the dictionary. Second thing, there are types of activities in this case. First is about simple factual activity, in which you'll be asked with a simple questions such as suppose might be word meanings, might be some true or false statements, or from the poet itself you have to pick up the sentences and complete the given stanzas. The simple factual activities is just the understanding of the poem. Complex factual activities requires explanation of the point. Why so? You have to give the reason, you have to give the complete idea what the poet wants us to explain in the given poem. Correct? So each stanza, each questions, whatever related to each stanza will be dependent upon your understanding about the poem. Okay. So and third one is the vocabulary or the devices used in the poem, that is certain figures of speech and other vocabulary grammar activities. We shall see this step by step. First of all, we need to analyze the poem. After understanding the conceptual theme of the poem given by the poet, we will be focusing upon the analysis of the poem. Analysis. What is this analysis? How to analyze? So here every poem has a certain theme, as I told. Your analysis is a careful and detailed examination of the poem. The aim of analysis is to understand the poem, that is what the poet wants to explain us that, and secondly to appreciate the poet. Okay, that's the important task. So this appreciation or analysis of the poem will be given point wise, up to 5 to 7 points. We'll be describing them. Now how to describe this these points is will be watching us today. Now in that case, first of all, why do we analyze why do we need the analysis of the poem? Why? Because if you have seen, every poem has its own tone, specific rhythm, specific structure. The contents are different. It is expressing the poet's ideas and we have to carefully examine it. We have to understand what actually the poet wants us to tell, wants us to explain. Okay, so here also, as the poem is expressed in complex feelings, unlike that of the simple language used in the prose, we need to analyze this poem. So what is the way of doing it? You have to just go on reading and rereading the poem and understand the content. Okay, so here to follow the analysis, we will move point wise. So first point here comes, that is under analysis. First point is that about the poem's name and the poet. Now it is very simple. Here the poem is A Time to Believe and the poet is B.J. Morbid, sir. Clear written. Secondly, we move up around the theme. What is the theme of the poem? That is the central idea. What is the central idea? What is the central idea in this poem for us? That is, he wants us to believe. He wants us to have some strength and courage within us. That is, in short, he wants us to be optimist, as I told. So this optimism, or having the quality of accepting or having a positive attitude towards life, that is the main theme around which the poet is explaining us different instances. Okay, so here the theme comes to, that is to having or adapting a positive attitude towards life and overcoming our failures. This is the theme of the poem. Second comes the theme is over. Then we come to the tone. The toning. Now words itself tell us the toning. How? Okay, so you are a clever boy, or you are a clever boy. I know you are a clever boy. So there are different tones. What we use are expressions, or the tone we use for saying a specific phrasal content decides what we want to express. Either we are expressing our joy, or we are expressing sadness or worrying nature, or we are expressing anger. Okay, so harshness. So the tone implies to the way or what we want accepted to be accepted by the person who is listening. So here also tone is the attitude that you feel in it, the poet's attitude towards the subject or the audience, what he wants to express. So here, how is the tone here? Here's the tone. How is the tone here? The tone is what? Inspirational here. The poet is in each stanza is trying to inspire us, is trying to make us believe in something. Okay, is trying to inculcate the positive attitude towards life, that attitude in each of us. So that is the tone of the poem. The tone is very seriously. He is seriously saying, okay, if I say the same poetic line that suppose to believe is to know we are never alone. Do I need to sing here? No, I am telling some seriously. This is a serious matter to be thought of. Okay, so the tone here is serious one. He is seriously telling us to believe is to know that wonderful surprises are kept. Okay, so this tone is implying us, is inspiring us. So every poem has a different tone. Twinkle twinkle little star, Baba black sheep. So every tone, you understand the meaning of the tone here. So every tone. So there will be various tones of the poems. You'll be speaking about the mood, okay, the frustration, the happiness, or the critical or dejected or angry way. So how the poet is describing the verses in the poem will be describing the tone of the poem. Here the tone is, you can call it inspirational and serious tone. Next point comes about the structure and stanzas. Structure and stanzas. The structure of each poem is different. Okay, some are properly aligned into verses of 2 2 2. Some have 4 lines each. Some have 4 lines in first stanza, 5 lines in second stanza, 7 lines in third stanza, and so on. So everywhere the structure is not the same. Okay, some are in free verse, so there is no proper structure in that case. So we need to understand everywhere. So unlike the prose in paragraph form, here the poem is defined or set up in specific stanzas, and each verses defines some rhythm. The rhythm will be sing upwards. Now first of all, the structure here. What about this poem? Suppose the structure here, we have seen the first stanza. If we see the first stanza here, 1 2 3 4 lines in the first stanza. Okay, so we have 4 lines. We have 4 lines again in the second stanza. The length of the stanzas, lines in the stanzas may differ. So here we need to describe how is the structure of that poem. Means what? How many lines are there in each stanza? Very clear about this. Here we have 4 lines in each stanzas, and I think so the last stanza is having somewhat 5 lines in this case. So this is the definition of the structure and the stanzas. Next point, we come up about the Rhyme and rhythm. Rhyme and rhythm. What is the rhyme and rhythm? Now here we need to understand the rhyming scheme. Rhyming scheme is what exactly? We mention how is the rhyming. Suppose we take the basic poem what we learned in the nurseries. Twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay, here the stanza. Twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. And up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Okay, so here rhyming scheme, we are not using some direct statements here, long statements here like the prose. We are condensing them into a poetic language. The poetic language may condense many of the words and make it short forms or abbreviations in short to make the rhyming scheme. Okay, here the words are rhyming. See, star, R, high, sky. Okay, you can see the rhyming scheme may be described using some set of phrasal words, contents, some repeated sounds in the poem. Okay, so here we are repeating to believe is to believe is to. The poet is trying to emphasize upon the point to believe. Okay, he's repeating the words, set of words. So that gives a typical rhyming to that poem. And rhythm, we talk about the rhythm here. So most probably we are first segregating the poem into what is the structure, that is the lines, line wise. So how many verses are there in each of the stanza according to the lines, last words in the each line, last words have some typical rhyming scheme, rhythm, that is star R, the phonetical sound expressing the similarity, star R. Okay, it's rhyming. So I define it by suppose the small alphabets A. So this is A, similar sounding. Okay, similar sounding words. Like high sky, they are sounding similar. Okay, in that case, so this way we will be analyzing that how is the rhythm or the tone, rhythm in the poem. Okay, so the rhythm here, every words, the whole poem has been given some particular letters. We'll see about this poem. Okay, so here in this poem we have the to believe is to know that every day is a new beginning. We shall copy down the last words here. The rhythm, first line has that in the last, and then second is have a beginning, then third has is to trust that miracles happen and dreams do really do come true. Correct. So here we understand that the last words here, repeating words here, are having different letters or sounds, rather sounds. That, beginning, happen, true. The phonetics, the sounding of any of the, is the sounding any of the two verses, last words same here? No, I don't find. I can't match that with happen, that, true, happening, happen, beginning, true. No such pattern is observed here for the sound of the last letters. So first I find a new alphabet, that I define it A. Second, I have nothing related with first one, so I define it B. Third one, again I don't have any similarity between A and B also, so I define it C. And the last one, E, here true, it doesn't rhyme out with A or B or C, here D, and so on. If I go on checking for each stanza separately, I don't find some similarity in the last words rhyming with each other. So here in such of the poems we say that the poem is in free verse. It does not have any rhythm. Okay, so here we do not define this by the alphabets. We state here that it is written in free verse. It has no rhyming scheme. Okay, so here the rhyme and rhythm is understood by this. So here one of the example, I read one extract. Example, out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever God may be for my unconquerable soul. So here me, be, pole, soul, the last words are rhyming same. So here I can define first, third, second, fourth line to be same rhythm, having some same rhythm, to define it as ABAB. Okay, so we'll be using this rhyming scheme and rhythm for each of the poem, and you'll be later gradually knowing about this rhyming scheme. Clear with it? So here it is to talk about this poem. It is written in free verse. It doesn't have any rhyme. Okay. Check out with the basic poem. Baba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. Okay, check the rhyme and rhythm for this poem and note down your notation in small alphabets of ABC. Correct. Next one, we come about the language and imagery. The 6th point comes about the language. Language and imagery. Imagery. Rhyme and rhythm. After rhyme and rhythm, we finish with language and imagery. What is the language and imagery in this poem? How is the language used? So it depends on the poet how to use the words. Here each and every word is clear. Every day, beginning, trust, happen, dreams, whatever words are being used are in a simple language. Poet is not clumsing any of the words into different poetic form. So here the language is simple, quite simple here. The language is simple used is, so you can use some certain poems have very complex ideas. So the language used will be complex in that. You have to understand it carefully. So you can define this language as simple, complex, having how many figures of speech, poetic devices that we talk about. We'll be learning it. So is it simple, complex, or having many poetic devices, etc. defines the language. Next comes the imagery. Imagery means what? What image is the poet building in front of our eyes? Okay, to express the ideas in the, or views in the poem, he's building up some image. Okay, yeah, so here also the image. Who is the image here? He's trying to create the image of the angels. He says that the angels are dancing among the clouds. Okay, he's trying to make us imagine that there are angels seen dancing in the clouds. Okay, so this is the image created. Okay, like the wise man in the moon. Okay, he's trying to create the image of a man who is wise and he is there in the moon. So these are the imagery instances. He's trying to create an image in front of us. So that comes about the imagery. So here the language is simple. It is directly, the poet is directly telling us to believe, do this, do that. Okay, he's directly telling us, it is direct, the speech is direct here. The image language is simple and direct, and the instances are of imagery such as the angels dancing among the cloud, like the wise man in the moon. Okay, these are the some of the images in the poem. Next we come about the figures of speech. This is an important point here. Figures of speech is the poetic device. Figures of speech. We come to this point now, that is figures of speech, the poetic device. Poetic language, as I told you, is certainly complex in its nature, and it tries to explain us its feelings. It wants us to understand the feelings described in those condensed form or the complex form what poet has described. So here figures of speech defines the way he is putting up each and every word or phrase in the poem. Here figures of speech, there are different figures of speech. First we'll go one step by step with learning figures of speech for each poem in the syllabus. Here we deal with some certain figures of speech. Suppose I come up to, first of all, angels dancing among the clouds. This is the first point, sir. Angels are dancing among the clouds. Are really angels dancing among the clouds, or it is an imaginary character built up having some human quality like dancing? Yes. So here the figures of speech, I define it as personification. First one, let's see. Personification. He's trying to personify. Okay, means what? Personify any non-living object when it is thought to be having some human qualities. Here I mean it is personified. So this figures of speech defines as personification. Suppose I describe the complete line, to believe is to see angels dancing among the clouds. For figures of speech, you have to describe the complete line or the verse given by the poem. Here in these lines, the poet has given the human qualities to the angels. So here the figures of speech is personification. Got it? So any non-living objects given human quality, here it will be defined as personification. Any more example here? Personification, human qualities of like dancing is there. Then and in any of these, you can search out for such more things in the poems, or you can refer to your own old poems, whatever you know, and then check out with these figures of speech. So first figures of speech, that is personification. Is it clear? So to personify or give human qualities to a non-living object, that is personification. Next we come up to believe is to believe is to. His poet is emphasizing upon the same words here. And do you find that this is true? To believe is to know that every day is a new beginning. If I say rolling stone gathers no moss, okay, life is beautiful, enjoy it. Of life, or I can say, suppose life is like an ice cream, enjoy it before it melts. You're the poet. In every stanza he's trying to create some idea. That is, suppose I go on, to believe is to know that life is a gift. Okay, these aren't these general truths, okay, to be understood by us. These are some general truths. So all these phrasal sentences or group of words that are describing some general truth, those are defined as epigram. That is epigram. Okay, so statements which refer to general truth are known as epigrams. So here, to believe is to know that every day is a new beginning. This is an epigram. General truth. The belief is to know the value of a nurturing heart. This is an epigram. So you have to write down the complete verse and then say that here these lines refer or state a general truth. Therefore, the figures of speech here is epigram. Clear? Find out some certain different type of epigrams throughout the poem here. The second type we found that epigram. Again, if I say again here also, I said every stanza here is starting with to believe is to know, to believe is to know. The poet is giving a rhyming, a certain emphasis upon we to believe that something is true. So these words are continuously repeating in the poem. So this repeating emphasizes the message and gives a rhyming to the stanzas. So here certain group of words or even some small words which are repeated again and again in the stanzas or throughout the poem, here we define it as repetition. Okay, so third here have repetition. This is the figures of speech, repetition. Repetition means what? Here the sounds, the words, certain words are continuously repeated. Therefore, it in the beginning of each stanza, therefore it is repetition. Got it? So any more instances of repetition here? Let's check up here. We believe is no or is a gift. Believe is to know, surprise waiting to happen, hopes and dreams are within reach. So you can find out many of these such type of repetitions in the program. Here to believe I find here, then again repetition of the words, to know the wonder of the star, the sky, and the wisdom of the man in the moon. Okay, certain words here, the is this being repeated, continuously repeated here to give some rhythm to the poetic device, poetic language here. So here it will be also a repetition in that case. So you have to define that what the poet wants to tell us. Repetition. Next comes, that is I find here that repetition, once we saw the repeating of certain set of group of words or single word that is being repeated, that is called repetition. Similar to that is one more, that is called alliteration. Alliteration. What is this alliteration? Alliteration means what? Repeating of not the word but the sounding word. Okay, so here suppose man, moon, and I take the same stanza here, to know the wonder of a star, the sky, and the wisdom of the man in the moon. The sound of this M, letter M, is repeated in this line, correct? So here man in the moon, this will be alliteration. The sounding, similar sounding group of words in the same line stanza, those are known as to be expressed as alliteration. So I hope you understand the difference between alliteration and repetition. So here in this way you can go through the complete poems and understand which type of poetic devices, that is figures of speech, are present in the poem. So here figures of speech, we have seen personification, epigram, repetition, alliteration. You can find some examples for this in the throughout poem. And one more here, metaphor is given. Let's see what is metaphor. Metaphor, what is implicitly comparison. Okay, suppose your example that life is a gift. Life is a gift. Is life actually a gift? It's not seen, but your life is implicitly compared to be to as a gift. Okay, so this comparison between the life and the gift, your words states it or define it as a metaphor. Metaphor. Okay, so this is metaphor. So comparison. So the life is a gift. Life is implicitly compared to a gift. So the figures of speech here is metaphor. So we have seen different figures of speech. There are many more figures of speech in the upcoming poems. We will be studying them. Here you have to go through the poem. I hope so you are ready with the word bank. And if you are ready with this analysis and appreciation of the poem, that is, you are able to understand the content in it and you are able to describe each of the instances what poet is telling or emphasizing upon us to understand, then you are answerable to any of the questions given here. Okay, so simple factual and complex factual questions are not a much difficult task to be overcome after you understand the conceptual meaning of the poem. So you'll be describing it in your own words that why sky has a magical quality, how aging hands have beauty or are called as beautiful. So these how should you react when you have you are facing a failure. Okay, so when you have a setback or failure, so how should you react on that instance. So this all poem, if you are understanding carefully and able to explain the content, then each of the question and answers here are answerable by you. Fine with it. Analysis and appreciation is one of the important part that we have studied now. We'll be describing this. And lastly, again, you need to continue with some certain activities. Don't just stick up to the limited questions given here and to be answerable. Rather move on to activities, such as first activity, I tell you that you can just prepare a poster of the moon and the clouds and describe how the poet has described through the poem in the stanza. Same way, in your own words, you describe the picture. Take the instance of aging hands, old grandmothers and grandfathers, okay, holding a child in their palms, small hand, a small baby kid. And then through motivation from this picture, what are your ideas? You have to express your feelings, okay, into words. Try it first out in words, in prose form, and once you are able to find that quality in describing the instances or the posters or the pictures, then I hope so certainly you will be able to build up a new poem. Okay, so after step by step learning these points about the poem, you'll be certainly able to frame it and design it. I hope so you go on easy with this task. One of the activity, as I told you, so, and second activity, again, you can discuss about everywhere to give motivation or to implement motivation amongst your friends, among your colleagues and friends. You need to have discussion. Discuss amongst your friend, among your group, what are your ambitions, what are your aims, what are your dreams, you want to fulfill them, and what type of qualities do you need to possess in yourself, so to overcome or to gain this summit or to reach the summit, to achieve your goals and aims in your life. So building up the positive qualities, you have lots of points to discuss with each other. Go on with this group discussion and give in brief your certain ideas related to these instances. So two of the activities I have given you. One with the poster quality, poster, that is the picture of a moon or any of the aging hands, and describe your own ideas about it. And secondly, you have to discuss about your ambitions and aims. I hope you have gone through the, or at least heard about, The Wings of Fire by APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, so go on with your maximum reading, build up your ideas, and that is ultimately going to build up your language. Okay, certainly I think you'll be successful in it. I hope so you'll be doing it. Thank you for it. Any of the doubts and queries can be asked personally. Thank you for this lecture.